don't talk about rest. I sleep when I'm dead. Motherfucker wanna
Welcome everybody to TruExact Show. I'm here with Chris and our special guest, John Miller. John, you can stop me here, stop me anytime, because I'm going to go through some accolades you have and make me and Chris, my friend Chris here, look like complete losers who've done nothing in life. Okay? So
I'm probably twice your age, so
you
got some time.
Don't put yourself down, and don't make me want to do things and be successful. I'm content with where I am, you know? So, all right, contributor to American Magazine, author of The Last Manager, How Earl Weaver Tricked, Tormented, and Reinvented Baseball, which I will be purchasing after this show, by the way, because I support anyone who comes on this show. He covered 6 continents, 40 countries for the Wall Street Journal, right? I'm going kind of off your Wikipedia here, but is this true? So far?
All true.
Okay. You coached 2 Little League World Series teams in Brussels?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. And you scouted for the Orioles?
Briefly, yep.
Oh, you know what? I'm done giving you your accolade. You're honestly one of the most successful people we've had on here. You're making me feel bad. Chris, you're still young. You're like in your 20s, so you got time. I'm 38.
I'm making some headway, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm 38. Well, I know I look great for my age. You know, take the hat off, it's a different story. But I'm a little stocked here. You know, I put out some music. But anyway, for people who wonder, the 18 viewers who've wondered where we've been, the TruExact Show, I just had a baby. I've been busy. You know, I've been making music. So this is our first interview, John. Give me a break in almost a year where we've interviewed someone.
I'm very flattered. I dig it. Let's go.
All right. So how this happened, I want to get into this, how I found John. My friends were on Facebook, and they have a lot of kids right now. And one of them posted their child winning a baseball tournament, right? And it was like a not Little League baseball tournament. It was called something else. Takeover. I don't really know. So I Googled, because Chris and I have talked about this at the basketball courts. I Googled like what has been the downfall of Little League baseball. Why is it not like it used to be when I was a kid or when you were a kid? And I came across your article. And I read it and I loved it. And I was like, all right, let me find out if this guy wants to come on the show. So that's it. So before we get into that, though, John, give a little bit of background about yourself, man. Where you're from, how you fell in love with baseball, and things like that.
Yeah. So I'm I actually grew up overseas in Belgium. Both my parents are from Maryland. They moved there in the 70s. I was born there. I grew up speaking French and fell in love with baseball on a trip to the States. And in the 80s, Brussels had a very good, there were so many Americans living there. They had a very good Little League. So I basically played baseball like a lot of American kids with volunteer dad coaches, and I loved it. We always went to the European Championships. As a player, I never won, but as a coach, I coached my little brothers who were 10 and 11 years younger than me, and we won twice: the under 15 World Series in Taylor, Michigan, and under 18 World Series in Bangor, Maine. And we were one game away from the Williamsport one, the U13, but we lost in the final to Saudi Arabia for the European Championships, which included Middle East. That's why Saudi Arabia was there. And so I've had these 2 parallel careers. One is in journalism, where I was a staff reporter at the Wall Street Journal and covered global trade. That's why I traveled so widely. And the second career was been in baseball, where I was a coach. I was a Little League commissioner for Belgium, very invested in youth baseball and developing the game, mostly in Belgium. In 2011, I moved to Pittsburgh for the Wall Street Journal, and I gave up baseball for 5 years. And then in 2016, when I quit the paper, I wanted to get back into baseball. And so I Googled Pittsburgh baseball coaching job, and I found myself coaching at this private academy or private team. Euphemistically, they call it travel team, travel baseball. I think they should call it private club, because what it was in this case, and I think this is pretty common as far as the economic business model, is that it's one guy who is running like 20 teams, charging $4,000 a season per kid, and then hiring coaches, paying them basically a minimum wage and pocketing a lot of money. I found out this guy was making $250,000 a year running Little League baseball teams. And so what's happened is you've had this development of, we can get more into this, you ask more questions, but private clubs, and they pay money to go to these tournaments where it sounds like your friend was playing. And then the tournaments hire the umpires, and they basically replicate the Little League tournament experience, but privatized. So it's for a fee. It's for one person who owns the land, is charging money and trying to, pay into his 401k with these baseball tournaments. And the whole structure like that is for profit, including Perfect Game, which is the big national youth baseball association. And it's all keyed into offering I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's my background. I did that for 4 years. I liked it enough to do it for 4 years. Then I got sort of tired of driving to the suburbs. I live in the city itself of Pittsburgh. Got tired of driving to the suburbs. Decided I wanted to do something more sort of true to my heart. And so now I coach in I'm the head varsity coach for a public high school. So the kids play for free. And so I have more perspective on the travel thing. And leading it gave me the perspective I needed to write that piece, which is for this kind of an esoteric Catholic magazine called America, run by the Jesuits, a Catholic order. But it went viral. It was like mentioned on the ESPN. It won like a big award from New York Press Club. And so it sort of jumped the tank as far as its niche audience. I think that year, the two most read stories for America were an exclusive interview with Pope Francis and then my story about Little League Baseball.
You know what, John? I gave you enough accolades to begin with. You don't need to just throw on more in our faces here, But yeah,
let's talk baseball. I want to talk baseball.
Yeah, man. Touching on that. Okay, so I grew up. I'm 38, right? And one of our favorite things we talk about still, it's been 30 years, man. Like, is Little League baseball, and the town I grew up in. You could still hang out with your friends to this day and say a name like, oh, John Miller, oh, Phillies in Little League, oh, Cubs. You identify everyone from the Little League team, which one of our friends' wives just gets exhausted from because she's not from her town, and she's just like, I can't do this. Little League always comes up, and
my town's the same way.
There was like a magical thing about it, man. Like like wearing your hat at the field all day, knowing I was a pirate for life. People relate to that. So we could touch on what you just said, the privatized, but like, when did it start? Like, what
is that still there? Is your volunteer base?
It's okay. It dwindled from like 12 teams from what I know now. I don't live in the town, but my parents do, to like three.
Yeah.
Three.
So
there's three teams.
I think it's happened gradually, and there's a lot of reasons. I mean, one is that baseball is simply less popular for kids. I think you're right. I'm 47, and when I was again in Belgium, all the Americans who moved over to Europe, because Brussels had a lot of corporations there. There's 3M, Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Procter & Gamble, and it was all these dudes with like 3 or 4 kids, and they all played baseball. Even the girls played, and that was sort of the cultural thing to do. Like you said, every kid played. Even if you weren't good at baseball, you could still play. So one is that baseball's become less popular. There's soccer, lacrosse, video games. That's sort of well chronicled. But I think baseball, by its nature, invites this kind of like siphoning of the better players because it sort of invites, again, these dreams in America of playing college, playing professional. And so you have a guy, an entrepreneur, who's like, hey, come play with me. We'll make a better team, and we'll go play these tournaments. So that siphons off the better players. And now in baseball, if you take away like the strike throwers and the shortstop and the catcher, the guys who can actually play catch, the game falls apart kind of. And in soccer, you take away the fastest players, a bunch of slow kids can still run around and have fun playing the soccer. In baseball, if you don't have the strike throwers, it just stops. Like everybody's throwing the ball to the backstop. Nothing's getting hit. It's a walkathon. It's boring.
You're hoping the parents are hoping it gets dark so they could go.
So then, if the better players leave, then the average players, well, they still want to play in a game that has strikes. So they have to pay the money and they go play in the travel team. So what you've seen is like this privatization of youth sports, which I wrote about, and it's like you're basically paying a tax on baseball to get the strike throwers, to get the functional baseball. And then there's another reason, which is everybody wanted the Little League was televised. So I guess 3 reasons. So baseball's less popular. The average kids wanted to go play in a better league so they can have strikes. And the third reason is that Little League was so good at marketing itself as this like fun tournament, and Little League, the World Series was on TV. And so people would see that and they'd go, how can I get to that World Series? And so they'd start these teams, all-star teams, and then they would get knocked out in July. And they'd have worked for 2 months of practice, and they're out. They have no more tournaments to go to. And like, oh, we want to keep playing. Well, it turns out that, Jerry from the town over, he's running a tournament. It costs $2,000 to play, but we can go do that. And so that's how travel baseball really started. Is teams wanted to keep playing after they got knocked out of the Little League World Series tournaments, which was like, very well marketed, became like this dream. And if you look at the structure of like the classic travel baseball tournament, it mimics a Little League World Series structure. So Saturday is round robin. You show up at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. You play 2 or 3 games that determine your seeding for the knockout round on Sunday. And And it's kind of like what little league tournaments are like. And so you can buy that experience, and you buy the summer, and summer fun experience for your kids. And that's how it got started in the 90s with Perfect Game offering these private tournaments.
God, Chris, go on.
Yeah. So from my perspective, just a little bit about my background. So I coach for a high school also. I do freshman soccer, freshman basketball, and freshman baseball. And then I'm an assistant varsity coach for all three of those sports.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
I coach for a club baseball team.
Mhm.
And not that I don't love my club and I love the guy that runs it and all that stuff, but I hate the concept of it. Because when I grew up, right, you grew up, you played your rec ball, and then when you're around like 7 or 8, you play for the town travel team. And that's like the Little League World Series teams that you'd see, like the New Jersey team, went a couple years ago with actually it was more than a couple, but
I think Tom River.
Yeah, something like that. One of those South Jersey
Well,
teams.
yeah, Tom's River won in '98. Todd Frazier was on the team. Beast from the East.
Yeah.
But the way that works, you go to districts, all that stuff, and then if you win districts, you go to states. You win states, you go to regionals, and then that's how you get to the little.
Yeah.
It's all well and good. Now, like you if you're not in a town, or at least around here, if you're not in a town that's like a baseball town, all those kids are playing club ball.
Yeah.
So like Cranford youth, like Cranford baseball team isn't going up against Union's youth baseball team. Now they're going up against Untamed Baseball or Canes or Niners, which is pulling in all the best players from X amount of towns. And not that it's unfair, but it's not really.
It's not what childhood should be about.
Yeah, like those kids, and from a parent's perspective, I don't know why, for the life of me, a parent would send them to a club team when it's almost double, triple the money, depending. You're sending an 8 to 10-year-old kid down to Georgia for a tournament.
Yeah,
that's not. First of all, the kid shouldn't be playing in Georgia when he's 8 to 10 years old, unless he's like some type of crazy phenom.
Yeah,
at 8 to 10, he's nuking the ball. But they're just going for the experience and like the clout, and like they're trying to get their kid to college, and I get it.
What does it cost to play? What does it cost to play in your club?
I think it's like mine's on the lower end scale because it's a very friendly club. Because the way they used to do it, there was 2 smaller towns, they merged, and then they kind of grew out of that. So then one of the dads kind of like put something together. So it's relatively cheap, but I think it's like $1,500 to $1,700.
Is it nonprofit? Is it nonprofit or somebody trying to make money?
No, it's profit. Like a guy owns it.
Yeah.
But like, his is almost out of like a necessity. Like it's a very small club. He only has like 1 to 2 teams.
Yeah. Because I could see a model where you keep the ambition. Because I gotta say, I like the quality of baseball. Like I'm a baseball guy. I liked having 35 12-year-olds, and I get to pick 12 and make a good team. Like that was pleasing to me as a coach. Like a high level of baseball. We were turning ground ball double plays. We were throwing strikes. We were doing like cool baseball things. So I like that part of it. So how can you keep that like ambition, but also keep the inclusiveness and also and minimize the cost? So have it be like a nonprofit model, maybe where it's like a board belongs to the local community, and you're not trying to make a profit. There's ways of working around it. Maybe I don't know if there's a way of. I mean, I think for me, like changing the rules to make it inclusive is important. Like even like using a machine instead of a pitcher, even at age 10, to keep balls in play. Make sure you have the balls in play. Make it fun, so it's not a walkathon. Like these are all things we should be thinking about, I think.
Well, in New Jersey, there's a time limit now. I don't know if it's like that in Pennsylvania, but for anything sub-varsity level, I don't know how I'm pretty sure even for like clubs and tournaments, it goes county by county, but for the 2 counties that I know, so I coach in Somerset County, it's a 2-hour game time limit, but you have to start the last inning at 1:45.
Are there still rec leagues where you live?
There are. I don't know. I mean, I know for Cranford, it's like my town's a big baseball town. So their little league is very much alive, but I'm sure if you go a couple towns over, I don't even know if they
Is it?
run little league anymore. Like I guess it goes town by town.
I think it's up to us as baseball coaches to make the game interesting and exciting and fun. And I get angry when I see like a game of 9-year-olds and the ball's going to the backstop because nobody can throw strikes.
Yeah.
I think that's criminal. You're making the game boring. Of course, they're not going to want to play. Like you got to make it interesting and fun. You got to have balls in play. Even like if they can't throw strikes, put a tee out there. Have them play t-ball. But at least have like some action because who wants to play baseball if it's just like watching some kid walk everybody?
Well, now what you said with having a pool to pick for 35, 12-year-olds, but like, isn't the problem with that? I got two things here. Isn't the problem with that is that means like if you have money and you can't accept your kid's not good, your shitty kid could still play, right?
That happens all the time,
Right.
Scott.
That's what I'm saying. So like, is it part of it is they're selling like a false hope, or these parents can't accept, like, listen,
Yeah.
less than 1% of these kids are going to make the main, less, like a fraction, right? So like there's people who
Yeah.
just can't like accept, yeah, your kid's not that good. Some kids should be in little league is my point, right? And then the best kids made the tournament team, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. Both.
When you got knocked out of the tournament team, the kids who got knocked out, all right, move on to the next sport. Football starts in August, soccer starts.
Yeah.
Right,
That
so
sounds
that's
great.
like
Yeah.
that's a problem where
But
these kids
yeah.
should be playing one sport either at like 8 or 10. They should be playing,
No, you're right. But there's an economic incentive to keep everybody playing 10 months a year, 12 months a year, because that's how you can make some money, right? If you,
I hate that too.
These guys are pretty good at sales. Like all they got to do is tell the parents, we're going to develop your kid to the college level,
That's crazy.
and come sign up for our winter ball. There's one of the complexes in Pittsburgh. It has this name I find like very perverse. It's no off season is the name of one of the tournaments.
Sounds like a money pit.
It's like this plumber, and he had some farmland. He started building baseball fields. Now he has like 7 fields on his land, and he has tournaments every weekend. He charges, even the parents got to pay like $5 to go watch if they want to go watch their kids play baseball. And at the same time, like they're not selling drugs. Like it's baseball, and in some environments, like there's good coaching. And I'm not like I think it's complicated. Like I respect the parents who want their kid to play good baseball. I prefer good baseball too. And I would like every kid to play baseball. That's not the case anymore. But I do think it's the responsibility of the coaches if they let it be boring. So I think it's up to like I do a lot of like going into schools or inviting kids for camps and just doing it for free. Just try and get kids to play, make it fun. Just playing catch, encouraging catch play, wiffle ball, all that stuff. It's up to us in our communities to make the sport fun.
Well, did you find that this was an issue throughout the nation, like spreading around, or was your like research only to a certain region?
No, there's communities where baseball is healthier for sure. There's communities where there still is volunteer coaches and then again to add to the nuance, like some of the dads were terrible coaches, and the club I was at, everybody had played college baseball, and so you had a higher level of coaching, and that's also good as opposed to daddy ball or some dad who doesn't know anything and he's playing a lefty at shortstop or whatever.
I've seen that at the college level.
Really,
like college club. I've seen that once.
Yeah. So
play to play,
there's something gained. Like again, it's as a journalist, my favorite saying is many things are true at the same time, and I think it's complicated. But again, so nationwide, I would say, wealthier communities and, to be blunt, like baseball is a whiter sport these days.
Yeah.
Like the minority kids in the cities don't play as much. And so in the sort of, the wealthier communities, and including like New York City, which is a very, wealthy place, the baseball is still popular and thriving. There's a club in Pittsburgh, which I really like, called Hardball Academy. And that's a nonprofit, which tries to give black players in the city a chance to play, and I think they charge like $800 a year, and they have scholarships available. And that's a nonprofit model. I think every big city has something like that. But there's communities where baseball has disappeared or is not doing as well, and now you have like ex-big leaguers in Pittsburgh. This has happened. They're moving back to after their careers, and they're buying travel baseball clubs because you can make more money doing that than coaching or being on the road. It's like Neil Walker, the former Yankees and Pirates second baseman. He's now the owner or co-owner of a travel club in suburban Pittsburgh called Hardcore Elite, which is a wacky name. Yeah. So the names of these teams, I think you alluded to earlier,
Yeah, it was like
some of
there was
them
one
were
that was like Untamed. I know.
Untamed. Yeah,
I
the
would
park.
100% name the team after myself if I bought a team. It would just be, I would go full pompous ego. Like if I had
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
it
yeah.
would be 100%. But I think part of it is our age, John. Like, we're only 9 years apart, which like isn't that different. Like we roughly
Sure.
probably went through the same type of childhood. Bikes till the lights went out, manhunt, all that stuff, manhunt. But
So
I
what do you think happened? Tell me after you
I
say that.
I like that's why I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. I can't believe for the life of me, like I'm shocked that these kids don't have the experience we had. Like when I see these parents put their kids in these things, and some of them I'm assuming they're good, right? Like, but I just like I wish they had that experience of Little League we had because there was almost nothing like it. Like
I agree. Home
we
run
had
derbies, all star games,
we
like
had
all
like
that stuff.
a full day of Saturday games, like 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4:30, and 7. And you felt like you were at the field in your uniform all day. Like you watched every game. You went to every game, and you'd go to the snack bar and then you'd see the standings, like all 12 teams. And I think, like you said, it just got like privatized. And I can't
I,
believe they turned baseball into like a
I,
capitalist venture.
I have a
I
theory
think
as to
You
why that
yeah.
happened. I feel
Go
like
ahead.
so you alluded to it a little bit earlier, John, but it's so you said daddy ball, right? So why is the coach's son playing shortstop or all that stuff? And all these parents, I feel like, are getting upset. And then I feel like somebody was probably at their little kid, like their nephew or something like that's game, and they were like, "I'm just gonna make my club. I'm gonna make my own team, and I'm gonna get all the best kids in the area, and they're gonna tell them, hey, X amount of money, I'll take your kid to the pros, like you said, they're great salesmen." And I feel like it kind of snowballed. Somebody saw that, was like, hey, he's making a lot of money doing this. Maybe I could do this. And then I think it was just a big
Yeah,
domino effect of how
But
that
how
went.
could parents fall for that? Like, chances are you can listen. Like, my
If
parents
you
used
have
to
a
sit by the
guy,
fence. My parents used to sit by the fence. This is a true story. I asked my dad, like, probably 5, 10 years ago, "Hey, Dad, did we ever play Little League with anyone who could have been a major leaguer?" He laughed in my face. He was like, "Do you understand how good you
I
have to
played with
be?" He
I played
said
with
we used
two.
to. He said,
So
and here's the thing. He said like we used to play, and there'd be parents talking about like, "Ooh, that kid has a shot," and my dad would laugh with his friend, and they'd go softball player at best. And guess what? We all ended up playing softball every single. So
I
like
mean, I
as
did.
even as a parent though, like you kind of have to know this kid ain't like $3,000, $4,000. Like you're not on that level, man. I think I would gear my kid
I
towards a
mean,
different sport.
I'll
who
tell
did
you
Chris
what.
play with? I want to hear
I
Chris.
did. I played with. So he actually just got called up. Gordon Graceffo. He's on the Cardinals. He's kind of. I feel like he's
That,
kind
that
of up and down this year, but he has the
that's the
same.
most New Jersey name I've ever heard. By the way.
Yeah, he's got. I played with him from the point when I was 7 till high school.
Yeah,
And then yeah, he's like kind of in between, like a spot starter reliever right now.
that's awesome. Good for him. No,
He's
it
got he's
happens.
got
Like there's good players.
It's
he's
very
got
rare.
good talent. And then I didn't play on the same team as him, but I
Yeah.
grew up playing against Jack Leiter, Al
Uh-huh.
Leiter's son.
Right.
Wow. Did you hit
So
him?
I hit a home run off him when I was a
That's
Oh
kid.
so
yeah.
awesome. You just
He's
came on this show to say that, didn't you?
In high
No,
school.
I would no, but when he
I
was a
should have
kid,
read
I
his.
swear to
I should
God,
have read his accomplishments, John. For-
no, I swear to God,
how,
when
how
he was
how
a
old were you when you
kid,
homered off Jack Leiter?
I was maybe like 10 or 12, somewhere around there.
that don't count. Shut up.
Like, hey, I hit a home run off. How many home runs did you hit off a major league pitcher?
I thought you were gonna say like I was in high school and we
No,
played.
when we were in high school, he went to Del Barton. I never played him,
Oh, you wouldn't have hit a home run.
but no, I'm sure. No, I'm sure I wouldn't have. But when we were really little, I swear to you, that kid threw meatballs. Like we mercy ruled him like every
Also
time
in
we
his
played him.
blood, though. That's like
Huh?
it's in his blood to be a pitcher. Like
I would say it's in his pockets.
that.
I mean,
Okay, that's fair.
I'm sure Dad sent him to all the training in the world and then some.
Yeah, but like,
And
like you
baseball is a
guys think
skill. It's not so much a
right, but
talent.
you
You have to
really
have the arm
think you could
talent,
learn
but
how to like you could pay to
I,
get good, or you just
I,
you
yeah,
absolutely could. You absolutely
I,
could.
I think I'm going to say one area of play where I think private instruction has made a huge difference is pitching and
yes,
particularly velocity training. And so that's a whole private industry that actually is why everybody throws 98 now.
yeah. Like
And
people's
I think
arms are falling off.
so. So I wrote this book about baseball in the 70s, and I got to say, like the one area of baseball which I think has not improved like the other areas is defense. I think people aren't that much better at turning double plays than they were 50 years ago because they did it so many times in practice 50 years ago. Like there were so many reps. Anyway,
Yeah.
maybe a different topic, but yeah, I think yeah, but I sort of agree with both of you. I think you're born to be an elite athlete more or less, and then you can tweak and improve some things. But I was never going to be a big leaguer, and because all of us have tried really hard, and I think it's if you can throw 90 more, you're more or less born that way, and then maybe you can train yourself to 97, 98.
Chris, didn't you do that and blow your arm out when you're like 16?
I got to 91 when I was in college, and then I
Did you?
Now
Oh
you're
no!
doing it. Now you're doing a podcast with me.
yeah, I tore my labrum, and then
Where did you play, Chris?
well, I went to Brookdale Community College, which around here is pretty good. I think nationally they're ranked pretty highly most years.
Oh yeah, those schools are good. Yeah.
I played there my freshman year, and then my sophomore year we had a whole bunch of like D1 transfers, and I was gonna get pushed out of the starting rotation, so I just decided to go back to my county, which was Union County, and then I played there for a year on a torn labrum, which was terrible.
Yeah,
but
stupid.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
it was awful.
John, the Little League thing, like a couple more things, man, because I know you might want to get back to your family in the hotel. Your wife's probably like, we have you said you have a 6 month old. Like, where the hell?
Yeah.
You know, you hear this kid yelling about torn
all good.
ligaments and shit.
I'm not yelling.
Oh, me. Torn
You
ligaments.
asked. You asked.
Yeah. So, do you think it's too far gone? Like at this point, do you think
I do.
think it'll ever get back, or you think it's just?
Yeah, I think we are gonna grieve, or we are grieving, and we have to grieve the world that we grew up in. I don't think that's coming back. But people have predicted the demise of baseball, for over 100 years. So I think baseball is going to endure. It's going to survive in different ways. There'll be other cool, exciting ways of doing it that kids will feel nostalgic about when they're, our age. And we all have the freedom to do it differently and to try different things. This is a topic I'm really interested in. And there's a guy, I think this podcast, the Youth Baseball Edge podcast, a guy out in Texas. He's like a dad who didn't play baseball growing up. He started this podcast, and he has all these baseball innovators on his podcast. And he had this one guy out in California. He was doing this pickup structure where it was teams of 4, and there'd be a coach catcher. And so that would help structure the game. And it's 10, 12-year-olds, whatever. And so you have 3 teams of 4, one team hitting, two teams in the field. It means less time on the bench, more excitement, more balls in play, and things like that. Like, I think if we're smart and we innovate, we can create baseball that's exciting and fun for our communities that kids will love and feel nostalgic for when they grow up. Does that make sense? Like, we have the choice. We don't have to take this. Like, we can do it differently. We can try different things. We can run it differently as individuals and just, be leaders and be inspirational for people around us. So that's where I take my hope, is that I'm always thinking about what kinds of clinics or what kinds of league can I start. I ran in Belgium. I ran this pickup baseball, it was called. It was every Wednesday, 4 to 6, and I would just coach pitch. I would get 16 kids, 8 on 8 every Wednesday, divide up teams, like sandlot kind of baseball, and it was super fun. And with coach pitch, you always have strikes, and so that's what I did. I've done lots of stuff like that. So yeah, don't lose hope. You can make it better.
I think a big thing too, an important thing for Little League Baseball is how cool the little things. You want 9-year-olds to want to play, 10-year-olds want to play, the field they play on. I know the field I played on had the scoreboard in center. It had the fence with billboards around it. They had 2 batting cages behind the fences, and the dugouts were in ground. Full dugouts with cement. They weren't just the fences.
That's pretty cool.
They weren't. Yeah,
It is cool. Yeah.
They weren't the fences with the benches. You literally walked in the underground dugout. You had you had the scorekeeper upstairs. And when you weren't playing, you asked the team to be the scorekeeper. The team that had just been done playing. So kids would also run the scoreboard. So you wanted to be around the field all the time.
That's cool. But I mean, also kids don't always care. I remember I was 10 years old. I went to a camp in Williamsport, and I never done home run derby before, and I was 10. And the coaches ran a home run derby, and it was hitting a wiffle ball into these pine trees. There was no field at all. and I was just so excited. It was so much fun, and that was like on hitting a ball into pine trees. Like kids just need like a grown up to structure it, make it a game, make it competitive, and they'll fall in love with it.
Yeah, that's true. I could agree with that. Chris?
I mean, I like the ideas of what you're saying, but I feel like, the privatized industry of, club baseball, it's just like you got too many salesmen pitching the world to these parents, and parents are delusional. Like at heart, they are. I know you're a parent now, Scott, so
I just told you my kid is zero chance if I know he sucks, he sucks.
Just
Like,
wait.
it's just like,
But like,
no, there's no way,
like
buddy.
you
Yeah,
tell
sport.
you tell a parent that their kid's gonna be something,
It's insane. But
and they're gonna run. They're gonna run. I played a team.
I get it, but like, why do you need someone else to tell you your kid's gonna be something? You should know if he is or isn't.
We beat them 15-0. I don't even know if they made a clean out. Like it was terrible. It was awful. And like these are private clubs that people are paying to play on.
How many people in your club, Chris, are paying? Like, just you don't have to say who, but like, out of 12 kids, how many of them would like? All right, they should be in regular Little League. Half?
I think the club that I coach for, if I were to be truly transparent, I feel like when you're in high school, you have to, if you're going to play club ball, you have to at least have a potential to play minimum like D3 or like a competitive junior college level.
Okay. And it's
where
worth the money.
Where I feel like it'd be worth it because you're training a little extra, and then you have aspirations to play at the next level. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and your money.
How many others? Go ahead, sorry.
But I mean, I have a team can have anywhere from like 12 to 16 kids. I'd say maybe 7 of them have a shot at playing at a college level.
Yeah.
The rest of them are just kind of there.
They got the money to play, pretty much.
It's sad to say that. Like I love the kids. Like I wish them the best, and I try to help them get to that point because I don't coach people based on their talent. I coach them based on their willingness to learn and their willingness to grow and like want to develp. But
Chris, you should be a politician. You're saying all the right things here.
Well, it's true. Like I mean, if you like, I'd rather coach a kid who isn't as good but wants to get better and wants to learn than a kid who has a lot of talent who doesn't listen to me, thinks I'm, my dad wants me to be here because he thinks I'm going to be good at blah blah blah. Like I'd rather coach the worst kid and get him to that point than coach the kid who really doesn't care.
Right.
Chris, in your high school, do you have any 3-sport athletes left?
Like,
good question.
Like my team, I got a guy who plays baseball, basketball, football, and he's really great at all 3. But he's like a unicorn. There's like nobody else like this.
Yeah.
Guy.
So the one that I coach at, I have 1 right now. He's a sophomore. He plays football. He's probably going to get some playing time as a sophomore on football. Basketball, he's probably looking at some varsity time this year. And then lacrosse, and he actually did get some minutes last year as a freshman for lacrosse.
That's great, yeah.
I don't see the way that my school works is a lot of kids will start playing 3 sports.
Yeah.
And then by the time they're a junior, they'll like drop one if they're not as good at it. But this kid's pretty good at all 3. So I don't really know when he's gonna.
Well, he could dump lacrosse because there's no like after college.
That might be the one that he's best at.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Like you're gonna play college, if you want to have money and go pro. I really am a jerk. Wow.
If you think about it, right, logically, right, the odds, like you said, the odds of him going pro in basketball, I'd say are basically 0. I love the kid to death. Probably 0. Football, I mean, if he grows a little bit and gets a lot bigger, maybe potentially possible. But lacrosse, if you're playing D1 lacrosse, you're getting a full ride scholarship.
That's true. You're right.
Now you're saying like you'd rather go to a football school that you're getting maybe like a quarter scholarship or a half a scholarship, or you're going to go to the lacrosse school. They're going to give you a full ride, full education. And a lot of times the lacrosse schools that are like the top are like really good colleges, like
Notre Dame
colleges.
Yeah.
So he's probably the value of playing college lacrosse is probably a lot higher than if he went to play for basketball or football.
All right, well, I recant my statement. Stay with
Yeah.
lacrosse, kid.
There you go.
What do I know? I went to community
There you go. No,
college and I got an
trying to
online degree. So
I'm just trying to educate you, Scott. That's what I'm
thank
here.
you very much.
That's
That's
why
why I
you're
like
doing
doing this. I get educated. Look at my background. It's full of Simpsons things that
Well,
I can have stickers of NFL teams.
you were partially there because you gave me it's a less than 1% chance to go pro, and I kind of ran off that.
All right, John, really quick, I just have a couple questions for you just because you're an Oriole fan, and then we'll let you go, man. But this is really cool. Glad I got to the bottom of some of it. I just like to talk about it. It's a cool topic, a little out of the box, like what I
It's a
know.
good topic. It's important. Yeah.
Very interesting. Who's your favorite player of all time? You said you're an Oriole fan, so I just have to know.
I'm gonna go with Eddie Murray, switch hitting first baseman from the '80s. Did not wear batting gloves. All he did was hit. Didn't talk a lot.
I was just playing with him in the show.
Yeah, there's a story about him in my book. So he was a very quiet young player, and a lot of the scouts thought that he was not motivated and kind of lackadaisical and didn't care. And the Orioles in the '70s had a psychological test, which Earl Weaver oversaw, and the test found that he actually had very high motivation. He was just very introverted, and so they drafted him in the second round, and he went on to have a Hall of Fame career, have 3,000 hits, 500 home runs, after being a second round pick. So every team had a chance on him, and the Orioles chose him. So yeah, and that was my first experience of going to ball games was in Baltimore in the '80s, and he was the big star, and the whole stadium would chant Eddie, Eddie, and I was 6 or 7, and just very excited and moved by that.
Okay, so you got to leave one and keep one. I'm giving you Cal Ripken or Eddie Murray.
I'll take Eddie.
Okay, that's fine.
Cal's like he's too perfect. He's too media trained, all that stuff.
Brady Anderson or Brian Roberts?
I'll take Brian Roberts. I don't know, just sort of he was on teams that were not very good. So he was like the bright light in the really dark years of the Orioles in the early aughts.
That is true. All right, Chris Davis, was he the guy who was like struck out a million times? I'm just throwing up a whim here.
No hit king.
Oh, horrible. Chris Davis or Harold Baines?
I'll take Harold Baines just because Chris Davis took too much money and
I respect him for not changing his approach.
Stop playing.
He really did. I love that about him. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not changing. I don't care what I do." What's the weirdest jersey you ever owned? Like you
know what? I used to go see the Cuban national team play in Holland. They would play these tournaments, and this was back in the '80s. And they would fly over there, and they would have like their equipment in plastic bags. They'd be smoking cigarettes, and then they would go out and like beat everybody. Like they would beat the Japanese teams. They would beat American professionals. Like they were so good, but also like so rough around the edges. And they would sell their jerseys in the stadium parking lot to earn some extra cash because they were so poor in Cuba. And so I bought a jersey off a guy who was this huge guy, but his last name was Doris. And so then I wore this jersey around town, and my friends would tease me because on the back of this jersey it said Doris.
I can't believe you had such an answer for that so quickly. Almost like you've been asked that.
That's like a perfect answer.
Have you ever been asked that before?
No.
It's felt like you had that in the whole. Like, man, one day I'm gonna get asked about.
I got lucky.
And with the Yankees, it's tough because they don't have names on the back. But with football, the Billy Cundiff kicker jersry.
It was one of those tournaments where Aroldis Chapman defected, where he was playing over there in Holland and escaped and went on to the major leagues.
Okay, so now you know a lot about baseball, man. So I'm gonna throw some names out because I want to see if I agree with you. And these could be guys who've made it. Because I'm curious. I want you to say Hall of Fame or not. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Mike Mussina.
No, Hall of Fame. Yeah.
I see. I'm iffy about that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he played in the steroid era and was the best pitcher in a really hard era.
I'm not mad about him getting in. I just am like, if he didn't get in, I'd be like, it could kind of.
You think he should have won 20? I guess he did win 20 his last year.
Yeah, his last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. He was the only one on that team.
Oh, you're an angry Yankees fan because
I love Mussina.
Between Jeter and that era, the zeros, so they didn't win anything.
I don't mind. Hey, what have you done for me lately, guy? Like when Jeter won, I was like, you know what, man, time to move on. And I think Jeter
Yeah,
got mad that we forgot about him pretty quickly when Didi stepped in.
yeah,
I really feel
yeah,
like he was
yeah.
bitter
Well,
about that.
Didi was like lighting in a bottle for a couple of
Yeah.
years.
All right. Kurt Schilling.
Yes.
Oh, no, just
I see. I
because
say yes. I think he was maybe because I'm a Yankee fan and the Diamondback series and the
he
Red
he go
Sox.
he goes out of his way to make everybody angry, though.
I get that. I'm throwing that stuff aside. Like I think
Fair enough. As a baseball player, sure, why not?
yeah, that's where I'm going with this because
Okay.
All right, what about you with the steroids, guys? Would you put like Bonds, McGuire in, Sosa in, or
Uh, I think so. Yeah, yeah, definitely Bonds. I mean, he was such an
yes?
extraordinary player, and I live in Pittsburgh, and they always say he could have quit after his Pirate years and been a Hall of Famer. Like he was so good as a skinny guy, and then he juiced and got big and strong and hit a bunch of home runs. So, and just his skill. I think the skill is what's most inspiring. And maybe McGuire over Sosa. Just as I think in terms of like sort of like a skilled a baseball player who's like really good at baseball,
Yeah,
whatever that means to you. And I think
yeah.
Bonds passes the test.
Would you put
I
A-Rod
agree.
in then? Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
Yeah,
he's like the Bonds. He probably would have made it. I feel
yeah.
that way about Manny Ramirez too.
Oh yeah, I love
Really,
Manny.
Manny
Yeah,
should be in. What about Jorge Posada?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. The World Series counts a lot for me.
How about
Like
Bernie?
being a winning player. I mean, if you put Harold Baines in, like Bernie
That's the
should go
problem.
in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Hall of Very Good there, right? They say, and then you put Mattingly in. I don't
Would
know
you?
how many hits. How many hits did Bernie have?
He didn't. He like maybe 2,500. The thing with Bernie though is like he was so clutch in the playoffs, like
Was
so
he
clutch.
an elite defender?
He was Gold Glover, one
Yeah,
batting
yeah.
title. He wasn't. He got old pretty quick. It hit him
So
hard
why is he not in?
because he averaged 297. If you match his stats up against Kirby Puckett,
Yeah,
aside
yeah,
from the average, he pretty much
yeah,
leads Kirby Puckett. Now he
yeah, yeah,
played
yeah,
four more years than Puckett, but
yeah,
his average actually tailed off because he kind of wasn't good the last four, so it kind of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I don't know. I
Yeah, Matt.
probably put him in. And I love Bernie. He's my favorite player of all time. I wouldn't put him in. I'm very my here's my logic with it. If you weren't top five at your position in
Yeah, yeah.
your era, you're not a Hall of Famer. That's how I judge it.
That's a
Mattingly
good.
has to
I feel
stay
like that's a
out.
good rule of thumb.
Mattingly has to stay out because what else will I bring up in arguments with Yankees fans? And if I want to troll my Yankee fan friends, I gotta have that in the bag.
Yeah, he's my dad said in those 8 years. I didn't watch him play, but in those 8 years when he
I,
wasn't hurt, he was the one of the best hitters in
he was
he's ever watched.
he was awesome, and also he could play infield right-handed too.
Yeah.
He was so talented.
How do you think is Judge? I hate to be a Yankee guy here, but like with Judge, is this the craziest right-handed hitter you've seen, average and power-wise, like
Well, I
non-steroid?
don't know because in the steroids era, you had guys like
That's yeah, it
hitting
sucks. It
50,
ruined
hitting
everything.
50, kind of, yeah. But in the context of compared to other players around him, yeah, it's well, it's like I mean, Bonds was like that too.
Yes.
Like
Amen.
the year where he had like an on base percentage of 600.
All right, John. This is fun. Thank you very much for coming on, man. I
My
hate
pleasure. Always fun talking baseball. Keep
yeah,
keep
love
keep
it.
coaching, Chris. Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks.
John.
Hey, man. So thanks very much, John. Oh, plug your book, man. Plug your book.
Oh yeah, The Last Manager, biography of Earl Weaver, but also history of analytics. Earl grew up. He was raised by a bookie, so he learned probability theory from gambling, and he applied that in becoming the first manager to use data in the dugout strategically to win games. So, a very fun character, very transformative, pioneering manager, and it's also a history of baseball and managing and analytics and gambling. Lots of fun little stories, and came out in March. Was 2 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. I always recommend your local bookstore, or if you like the audio version, it's on Spotify. If you have Spotify, there's a very good actor named Johnny Heller who reads the book. If you like that, or just go to your local bookstore.
All right, so we started the show with accolades from him, and we ended it with two-time bestseller, New York. Meanwhile, I have nothing. Hey, John, man, thank you very much. I'll text you when this comes out on the side, man.
All
Really
right,
cool.
guys.
Stay in touch, definitely.
My pleasure. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.